to the first Coach Shawn Witten show for the 2022 season as we talk to head coach Shawn Witten about the first game of the 2022 campaign against our arch rivals, Science Hill Hilltoppers. I'm Stacy Street along with my partner Tony Briggs. Coach Witten, it's here, and tonight we face the probably one of the toughest first-round opponents that anybody faces in the state each and every year. Before we get into the Science Hill game tonight, let's talk a little bit about your practices, what you've been seeing over the summer, and let's start with what do you like most about this team?
Well, I really think that this group has really worked hard from start to finish. Our attendance has been really good. Even the guys that played multiple position sports have really worked. I think our summer program was spot on. A majority of our team, took the vacation time during the dead period. I mean, they just wanted to be here. They didn't miss. We got great work with our basketball guys in the summer as well. We've had a lot of guys go to camps. We've had a lot of guys put in the extra work to make the transition to certain positions, throwing, catching. Guys going from linebacker to defensive end, just guys going to center, helping us out that way, and just the guys taking the next step. A lot of time in the weight room, building relationships with the next core players, trying to work extremely hard with the youth that we have on our team to get them, caught up to speed. But it's been really good, just the attendance has been good, and just the guys being here. They've wanted to be here. Their attitudes have been in the right place, and just the work. I mean, the work that we put in, especially in the month of June and July, was pretty extensive. Just asking them to work out and then go do some stuff on the field to try to get him cheer-not shape was pretty good.
The reverse of that is what is causing you concerns right now as you start this first game tonight. Big opener. Big uncertainty. We're not going to talk about the last 3 years. Well, what causes you some concerns going into the game tonight?
Well, I think just coming off of our scrimmages and the jamboree, just composure. It's not that our guys don't want it or they're not into it. It's just our composure. We sometimes get caught up in when we make a bad play or make a mistake or we miss a tackle, we allow it to carry to the next play, and so we've got to do a great job of just getting to the next play. We've preached a lot of, putting ourselves in position to win the next play. We don't need guys to run around on offense with the ball. We don't need guys, trying to become superstars. It's really just doing your job and keeping your composure throughout the game. And the concerning part is there's going to be a lot of football plays in tonight's game. You can't allow one play to dictate the rest of it. You got to let it go. And so we've been preaching that for a long time now. The current play is about winning the play, and then it's about putting ourselves in great situation to win the next play. Down and distance wise, rallying to the football wise. I think composure is really the winning ingredient for tonight's game. If we keep our composure and keep our head in the game and not allow other things to distract us from that, we should be in pretty good shape.
I sit here and say we're not going to talk about the last 3 years, but here's a follow-up question about that. These guys were around to see, especially that 2019 season, where that team, more than any I've ever seen here, good or bad, they forgot about that last play and went on to the next one. And that was sort of carried on. It's a little different, though, when you're watching it and then you're actually doing it. Is that what you're kind of facing a little bit?
I think so. I think it really comes down to this point. We're asking our guys to, that it's our job to put them in great situations. It's our job to help them. When we're correcting them, we're not criticizing them. We're not putting them down in the game. The other part of it is you win by shared experiences. They got to trust that we've been in these experiences before. maybe they haven't. They got to go play, and they got to allow us to kind of call the game and dictate the game. And so, they just do a great job of trusting us, and they put in a lot of work. It's our job to make sure that we get the ball distributed, we get the formations we want to do, get the people in the right alignments on defense, and they just got to turn it loose and go play. They can't worry about all the other things that have gone on. Their job is to focus on the play and give as much effort as they can. And so, I think they got to do a great job in the execution part of it, but their energy, their effort, and then lastly, the execution, it's got to be top-notch communication-wise. They got to communicate amongst one another, but it helps a little bit, especially on the offensive side of the ball when you got senior wideouts, you got senior running backs, you got 3 seniors on the offensive line, you got a senior in our tight end, Jacob Whitaker, that's back and done an H-back. So, I think that should calm a little bit of nerves in a lot of ways, but all of a sudden you go from being a number 2 receiver to number 3 receiver to number 1 receiver. You're a big part of the offense. So it's not the guys aren't their hearts are not in the right place or their mind's not in the right place. They just got to do a great job of making sure somewhere along in the game when we hit adversity, we got to bounce back from it.
Picking up on that, how do you get the number one receiver who was number 2 last year or number 3 behind Jake and behind Parker the year before? How do you get them to believe in themselves that they can trust their own instincts because they've seen it? Well,
I think they understand that we got a winning formula, Tony, and we got to do a great job of making sure that we get them the ball when we need to. When they get in situations, we can go over the top. We've got to do a great job of our slot receivers, outside receivers. Our formula is we got to give them the ball to them quick. So allow them to use their ability to go make the plays. And so that's really what we've had a lot of success on in the past, was making sure that we throw high percentage footballs, that we're throwing the routes that the guys really, really like. And then, when we give them a chance to make a play, that we're putting the ball down the field where it gives them a chance to make a 50-50 ball. I think the guys have done a really great job, with Teddy and Nate. I think they're going to be tough to stop on the outside if we can just get it to them. I think they're going to make it hard for secondaries to stop them. When we throw the ball short, it's going to make them come up, and then we have the ability to go deep. We've shown that in some early preseason scrimmages, and so we got to do what we do. The formula becomes really simple, and we've got to do a great job executing game plan. Really, for us, what we've tried to do offensively, Tony, is we really try to keep it super simple. We've always been a multiple formation team, where we try to allow myself to line them up in the multiple formations, but our packages a lot of times stay the same.
A lot of people that know you, they're going to not like the question because you're not used to bragging on yourself. But you as a play caller and as a coach, do you see this year as a different challenge than you have the last couple of years, and how you've taken it lit the fire, for a lack of a better term?
Well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to put the pieces together. I think it all starts up front. The way that we got to mold our offensive line. We've got to see what they can do. Are we a zone team, or we're a gap scheme where we're pulling people? What kind of pass protections are we good at? Obviously we've relied on Cade a lot of times to stay in and protect. To help us get a 6-man protection because he is so tough in that ways. But I think for young quarterbacks, it's an easy read to get the ball to your running back. So how do we make it work? And so we've kind of settled in the last several weeks with our offensive line. The versatility with McDuffie, over the last 3 years of playing left tackle, center, now possibly right guard, or even the experience of Whitaker, play another year at H-back tight end. I think he can see himself and learn a lot from last year's games. Hey, you did this well last year in this game. You didn't do this well in this games, and what we're asking them to do. And then somewhere along the line, as good as we are to skill positions, You know, some of those skill position guys are going to play both ways. And so there comes a balance in, you know, can they make the plays down the field? You know, are we going to have fresh legs? You know, so it's our job to do a great job of mixing up personnels. But yeah, I mean, I would say that this probably is my most challenging year, probably going back to 2019 when, you know, we had Bryson or Cade Moppin was going to be the quarterback, but one of them was going to be the running back, the other one was going to be quarterback. They basically could do the same thing. Here, you know, it's going to take some time, but I really feel that we got a good game plan for tonight's game. We've kept it simple. We've repped it a million times. We just got to turn it loose and go do it.
All right, that does it for our first segment. We'll go back to the station for these words from our sponsors. When we come back, we'll finish previewing tonight's big contest, the Royal Rumble 2, as the Hilltoppers come into Citizens Bank Stadium to take on your Elizabeth the Cyclones. We'll be back after these words. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Coach, going into tonight's ball game, Science Hill is sort of at maybe a disadvantage from film standpoint because they only had one scrimmage and then they had a half of a jamboree that we played in last week. How do you go ahead and prepare your offensive mind to get into gear when you've only seen one film against them and you really don't know what to say because they're replacing 30 seniors?
Well, I think initially, you know, you try to put yourself in the other team's shoes. You know, if I was facing us, this is what I would do. You know, if I was facing us, these are the things that would give me problems. So that's where we start. We start by trying to eliminate what's going to hurt us the most. You know, obviously Science Hill, you know, with a young quarterback, they're going to bring a lot of pressure. So our job is to make sure that we eliminate that. You know, sprint out passes, roll out passes. We got to do a great job at eliminating the blitz. They're either going to blitz from the inside or outside. And try to put as much pressure on the quarterback in the early part of the game. So, you know, that's some of where you think you start is the things you don't want to see as a play caller. And so we got to make sure that we take those things away first. You got to have a plan for they're going to put a lot of pressure on you. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the corners and receivers to win at the line of scrimmage, to say beat man-to-man coverage. You know, they're going to bring pressure from the inside or outside. So those are things we've got to do right off the bat. And you can't just line up in your normal stuff. So our first train of thought was making sure we got tons of personnel. We've got extra linemen that can go in. We've got extra tight ends that can go in. We've got to do a great job when Cade needs a break. Where do we go at running back? If Nate goes from receiver to running back, then who takes his spot? It's all about getting off to a great start, making sure that we understand the game plan. We're eliminating the mental errors and the mistakes, and then the Q's got to know where and what he's doing with the ball.
Now on the flip side, we faced Jackson Diamond the last 2 years, and before that Bedard. It goes all the way back to maybe Jaylen Adams and Malik Magoo to look at the quarterback, Shawn, tonight to give us some type of indication on what he's capable of doing. How do you prepare for that when it's something you've seen on Science Hill the last 4 years?
Well, I think we got a lot of previous film, and I think it's a lot of looking yourself in the mirror. The things we did with Bryson the last 3 years are initially what you do from the get-go when you got a mobile quarterback. But it's easy to get him out on the move. It's obviously they want to try to protect him early. And I think that you got to make sure you try to do a great job of taking his first outlet away in receiver position. We got to take the initial first read away, make him hold on to the ball a second longer than he wants to. Other thing too is, as I know for sure, is your linebackers got to do a great job of spying the Q. You never can ever let him out of your sight. Now, we know that firsthand, all the plays that Bryson's been able to do to make his feet, the plays you go back to Magoo, you just can't coach against that. So we've got to do a great job of knowing where he's at all the time. They've got 4 weapons on offense. They've got Shawn, they got Tyler Moon, number 5. and they got 2 running backs in the backfield. You're going to see tonight, number 1 and number 23, that they're going to do a great job of trying to get them involved. You're also going to see tight end sets, to try to help tight ends, extra blockers. You're also going to try to see some maybe spread empty formations to make the reads easier. You're also going to see Tyler Moon probably going some jet sweep, speed sweep, to get us playing laterally on that. So I think that, it's great. We got Eli Williams back at the Mike linebacker. I think it's also going to be great that we can do things with Mason Ball from a defensive end and an outside linebacker standpoint where we can be versatile there. And, we got to do a great job of – I felt like Nate last year played his best games as a corner and late in the secondary last year. Dalton's a 3-year starter. Kay's a 4-year starter at safety. And then, obviously, we got Teddy, Luke Whaley, Bryson Rowland, Eli Blevins at the other corner. So our secondary's got to do a great job in keeping in front of us.
What little bit we've seen on the film, this looks like one of those Science Hill teams from old. They got big boys up front, big boys. Some may not be as tall as the others, but they got big boys up front. And then they've got all these smaller speed guys. You talked about the quarterback and those 2 running backs. It always seems like in these uncertain years about Science Hill, they have somebody that breaks out, that becomes a star that you don't know about. What do you, and you've talked about it a little bit, but what do you do to prevent that? What do you do to prevent one of those running backs to start getting ahead of steam and getting around the corners? What's most important?
We've done a great job over the last several years of, you got to win in the trenches. I think where both teams are right now is, typically in years past, our greatest chance of beating Science Hill is always at home. When you feel like you get the big city school in a small town, that's kind of been our, a big chance to kind of win. I think a little bit, hopefully, is, we've been able to get them the last 4 years, which is a big part of it. We went a decade and didn't beat them. I think there's a thought process in the back of their mind that they know, what they're kind of stepping into. I think that, we got to make sure that our, stepping into the roles that we are the standard, that we believe and we have that feeling that, it's our time. It's a lot of, building. We've built these guys up to making sure that they understand that they've done everything that we've asked them to do. They've got to go turn it loose and go make plays. And so we've got to rally around the football tonight. We got to be a swarming on defense, and we can't give up the big play. We cannot allow that ball to be thrown over our head. So we've got to do a great job from our secondary, from the back end. If you want to be a great defense, you got to be able to cover from the back end. And so we feel that should be a strength for us early tonight's game, to be able to move the safeties down in the box if we need to as well. We feel that we do have the depth at defensive line, even though we are inexperienced, aware that we can rotate those bodies in to stay completely fresh. And so I think a little bit, they're playing about as many people both ways that we are. And so we've got to do a great job offensively to keep Shawn on the sideline. And, we've got to do a great job of making sure we stay ahead of the chains. Tonight's game is about last year's format. It's a low-scoring game. It's time of possessions, multiple first downs. We got to keep, down the distance between, 5 or less. And, we got to make sure that, as long as they're staying over there, we got a great chance to win this thing at the end.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. For years, we heard it's not a rivalry if you can't win. Well, we've been winning. We want to put that shoe on the other foot and keep it there. We thank Coach Shawn Witten for joining us tonight. We thank Lee Woodby for doing the filming here for us tonight. We're going to go back to the station for a few words from our sponsors, and when we come back, Tony and I will have the kickoff, first game of the season at Citizens Bank Stadium, as your Elizabethton Cyclones host the Science Hill Hilltoppers.